The timestamp reads November 14th, 2019, 11:47 p.m., and I'm pulling out of the Lewis County Sheriff's Substation in Packwood, Washington, just like I've done for the past 11 years. The body cam's running, dash cam's running, everything's logged and documented the way it's supposed to be. My name is Deputy Marcus Hale, badge number 4471, and tonight I'm working the Eastern Patrol Sector, which means about 200 square miles of Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, a handful of logging roads. That don't show up on civilian GPS, and maybe 300 permanent residents spread across the whole territory. Dispatch, this is Unit 14. I'm 10-8 and beginning patrol of Sector 7, starting with the 131 corridor heading south toward Randall. Copy that. Unit 14. Dispatch responds through the radio, her voice crackling with the familiar static that always gets worse once you're deep in the trees. You're the only unit out there tonight, Marcus. Towers showing some atmospheric interference, so don't be surprised if comms get spotty past mile marker 23. I tell her I copy, and I pull onto the dark stretch of Highway 131, my headlights cutting through a thin mist that's already starting to settle between the Douglas firs. There's something about this forest at night that I've never been able to explain to people who don't work out here. During the day, it's beautiful, the kind of place tourists drive hours to photograph. But after dark, once the sun drops behind those mountain ridges and the shadows start pooling between the trees, it becomes something else entirely. I've been a cop for 16 years, 11 of them in this county, and I've seen things out here that I will never put in an official report. None of us will. That's the first thing they tell you when you transfer to night shift in the Eastern Sector. There are rules, not the kind of rules you'll find in any department manual, not the kind of rules that show up in training documents or get discussed at briefings. These are the other rules, the ones that get passed down from one deputy to the next, always in person, always off the record, always with the understanding that if you talk about them to anyone outside the department, you'll be dismissed, discredited, and left to deal with the consequences on your own. I remember when Deputy Stenson first told me about them, back in 2008, 2 weeks into my transfer. We were parked at the Overlook near Cispus Road, and he had this look on his face like he was about to tell me someone had died. Listen carefully, he said, because I'm only going to say this once and then we're never going to talk about it again. What I'm about to tell you isn't in any manual. There's no paper trail. But every single deputy who's worked nights in this sector follows these rules. And the ones who didn't, well, you can check the records yourself. See how many night shift deputies have gone missing or taken early retirement with full psychological disability. He lit a cigarette even though we weren't supposed to smoke in the patrol vehicles, and he started talking. Rule 1, he said, never stop for a woman alone on the road past midnight. I don't care if she's flagging you down. I don't care if she looks injured. I don't care if she's standing in the middle of your lane. You radio it in, you note the mile marker, and you keep driving. If she's real, day shift can check it out in the morning. If she's not, well, you just saved your own life. I remember laughing at first, thinking he was hazing the new guy, but his face didn't change. Rule 2, he continued, if you see a deer standing in the road and it doesn't run when you approach, don't get out of your car. Don't honk, just wait. Eventually it'll move, or eventually you'll realize it's not actually a deer. Rule 3, between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., do not respond to any calls that come from the area around Yellow Jacket Creek, no matter what dispatch tells you. If dispatch asks why, tell them you had radio interference and didn't receive the call. They'll understand. They always understand. Rule 4, if you ever hear a child crying in the woods, do not investigate. Children don't live out here. There are no houses within 6 miles of most of these roads. There is no reason for a child to be in these woods at night. Rule 5, and this is the most important one, Hale, if you're ever on foot and you hear something moving in the trees parallel to you, matching your pace, do not acknowledge it. Don't shine your light at it. Don't speak to it, don't run. Just walk calmly back to your vehicle, get in and drive at least 5 miles before you stop. And whatever you do not look at its face. I asked him what would happen if I did, and he just shook his head and said that Deputy Womack looked at its face in 2004, and the search teams found his patrol car 3 days later at the bottom of a ravine off Forest Road 28. His body cam was destroyed in the crash, but they recovered his personal cell phone from his pocket. The last thing he recorded was himself sitting in his car, engine running, saying the same phrase over and over for almost 40 minutes. It saw me seeing it. It saw me seeing it. It saw me seeing it. They ruled it a suicide, drove off the cliff on purpose, but Stenson knew better. We all knew better. That was 11 years ago, and I followed every single one of those rules without exception. I've seen the woman on the road 4 times, always near mile marker 19, always between 1 and 3 a.m., always standing with her back to my headlights, her hair wet like she just climbed out of a river, even when it hasn't rained in weeks. I've never stopped. I've seen deer that don't move, that stand there with their heads tilted at angles that would break a normal animal's neck, watching my car pass with eyes that reflect my headlights. Wrong, too bright, too steady, and I've never gotten out. I've ignored 3 calls to Yellow Jacket Creek, including one where the caller claimed they were a lost hiker with a broken leg, and I've felt guilty about that every single day. But I've also noticed that no missing persons reports were ever filed, no bodies were ever found, and the call logs from those nights show nothing at all, as if the calls never happened in the first place. Tonight is different, though. Tonight, dispatch comes through at 12:34 a.m. with something I've never heard before. Unit 14, we've got a 10:54 at your location, possible livestock on the roadway. Mile marker 21. Caller reports multiple animals blocking both lanes. Might need traffic assistance. I copy the call and start heading that direction, but something feels off. We don't get livestock calls out here. There aren't any farms past mile marker 15. The nearest ranch is 20 miles west in Morton. I ask dispatch for the callback number on the caller, and there's a pause, longer than there should be. Unit 14, she says, and her voice sounds strange, almost hesitant. Callback number is showing as your unit's mobile. That's impossible, I tell her. I didn't make any call. Another pause. Dispatch confirms the call came from a mobile device registered to Lewis County Sheriff's Office, Unit 14, Deputy Marcus Hale. I feel something cold move through my chest. I've been driving this whole time. My phone is in my vest pocket. I haven't touched it since I left the substation. I tell dispatch to disregard the call, that it must be some kind of system error, but she says she can't do that because protocol requires a welfare check on any 10 to 54 to prevent accidents. I'm already approaching mile marker 21, and I'm telling myself it's nothing. Just a glitch, just some weird atmospheric interference screwing with the cell towers. When my headlights sweep across something in the road ahead, I slow down. My heart rate is picking up, but I'm keeping my breathing steady, the way they taught us. At first I think it's fog, some kind of low cloud that settled into this particular dip in the road, but as I get closer I realize it's not fog. It's shapes, dozens of them, standing in the road completely motionless, arranged in rows like they're waiting for something. I stop the car about 50 yards back, and I'm trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. They're deer. At least they look like deer from here. Maybe 15 or 20 of them, all standing perfectly still, all facing my direction. None of them are moving. None of them are reacting to my headlights or my engine. Dispatch, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. I'm at mile marker 21, and I've got, I don't know, maybe 20 deer in the road. They're not moving. Advise. Static. Then her voice, broken up. Unit. Repeat. Signal. Comms are cutting out. Of course they are. This is exactly what Stenson warned me about. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to wait. I'm not supposed to get out of the car. I'm not supposed to approach them. But dispatch already logged this call, which means it's on record, which means if I don't resolve it somehow, there's going to be questions. A supervisor review, someone from day shift coming out here in the morning, finding nothing, wondering why I didn't handle a simple livestock situation. And then I notice something that makes my stomach drop. One of the deer, the one in the front closest to my vehicle, it's not standing on 4 legs. It's standing on 2. I reach for my spotlight, the handheld one mounted on my dash, and I'm about to turn it on. When I remember Rule 2, if you see a deer standing in the road and it doesn't run when you approach, don't get out of your car. Don't honk. Just wait. Eventually it'll move, or eventually you'll realize it's not actually a deer. I put my hand down. I leave the spotlight off. I sit there in my patrol car, engine idling, watching, waiting. The shapes don't move. Minutes pass. 3, 4, 5 minutes, and nothing changes. They just stand there, motionless, arranged in their strange formation. And I realize that I can't see them breathing. No visible movement of their chests or flanks, no ear twitches, no tail flicks, nothing. And then, very slowly, the one in the front, the one that might be standing on two legs, it turns its head toward me. Not its body, just its head, rotating on its neck in a way that no deer, no animal should be able to move. I can't see its face from here. It's too dark and my headlights are hitting it from below, casting its features in shadow. But I can feel it looking at me. I can feel something looking at me through that shape, through that thing pretending to be a deer, and every instinct I have is screaming at me to put my car in reverse and get the hell out of here. But I don't, because Rule 2 says to wait. Rule 2 says eventually it'll move, so I wait. My hand is on my radio, but I don't key it. I don't want to make any sound. I don't want to draw any more attention to myself than I already have. The thing in the front is still watching me, its head still turned at that impossible angle, and I'm starting to notice details I missed before. Its legs are too long. Its body is too thin. Its eyes, what I can see of them in the reflected headlight glow, they're not reflecting the light anymore, they're absorbing it. Black, completely black. Dispatch. This is Unit 14, I whisper into my radio. I need backup at mile marker 21. Do you copy? Static. Nothing but static. Then, from somewhere outside my car, from somewhere in the trees to my left, I hear it. A child crying, not distant, close, maybe 30 feet into the tree line. The sound is unmistakable. A young child sobbing, calling out for help. "Mommy, please," the voice says. "I'm scared, I'm so scared. Please help me." Rule 4. If you ever hear a child crying in the woods, do not investigate. Children don't live out here. There is no reason for a child to be in these woods at night. I keep my eyes forward. I don't look toward the trees, but the crying continues, getting closer, and now I can hear footsteps too. Small footsteps crunching through the underbrush, approaching my vehicle. "Please," the child's voice says, and it sounds like it's right next to my driver's side window now. "Please, Mr. Police Officer, I'm lost. My mommy left me here. Please help me." I don't look. I can't look. My entire body is rigid, every muscle locked, and I'm staring straight ahead at the shapes in the road, at the thing that's pretending to be a deer, and I'm watching as one by one the other shapes start to turn their heads too, all of them, rotating in unison, turning to face me. "Why won't you look at me?" the child's voice says, and now it doesn't sound like a child anymore. Now it sounds like something trying to sound like a child, something that learned what a child should sound like, but doesn't quite understand the rhythm, the cadence, the breath between words. "Why won't you look at me, Deputy Hale? It knows my name. Whatever is standing outside my window, whatever is pretending to be a lost child in these woods at 1 a.m., it knows my name." I close my eyes. I take a breath. And then I do something I've never done in 11 years of night shifts in the eastern sector. I break a rule. I put my car in reverse. I start backing up, slowly at first, then faster, not caring that I'm driving blind, not caring that the road curves dangerously about a quarter-mile back, not caring about anything except putting distance between myself and whatever is happening at mile marker 21. In my rear-view mirror, illuminated by my backup lights, I see them. The shapes. They're not standing in the road anymore. They're following, moving in that same synchronized way, heads still turned toward me, bodies facing forward, but heads twisted backward to watch my retreat. They're keeping pace with my car. I'm doing 15-20 miles per hour in reverse, and they're matching me exactly. Their legs moving in ways that don't look like walking, more like gliding, sliding across the asphalt without the normal motion of limbs. I reach back for my radio, but I can't take my eyes off the mirror. Unit 14 to dispatch. I'm shouting now, forgetting protocol, forgetting everything. I need immediate assistance. Mile marker 21, I have multiple, I don't know what they are, multiple subjects pursuing my vehicle. Do you copy? Dispatch, do you copy? The radio crackles. Then a voice comes through, but it's not dispatch. It's my voice. Unit 14, the radio. Says in my own voice, "We've got a 1054 at your location. Possible livestock on the roadway, mile marker 21. Caller reports multiple animals blocking both lanes. Might need traffic assistance." I turn the radio off. I keep reversing. The shapes are still following, still matching my speed. And now I can see that the one in front, the one that was standing on two legs, it's not moving like the others. It's standing still. It's getting smaller in my mirror, which means I'm putting distance between us. But even as the gap widens, I can feel it watching me. I can feel it waiting. I reverse until I reach the curve, and then I swing the car around, tires screaming against the wet asphalt, and I floor it. The engine roars, the speedometer climbs. 40, 50, 60 miles per hour on a road rated for 35, but I don't care. I just need to get away. I need to put as many miles as possible between myself and mile marker 21. I drive for 10 minutes without looking back. My hands are shaking. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. The body cam is still running. The dash cam is still running. Everything I just experienced is being recorded, but I already know what's going to happen to this footage. It's going to disappear. It always disappears. Finally, I pull off at an old logging turnout near mile marker 11, and I sit there in the dark with my engine running, trying to calm down, trying to process what just happened. My radio crackles. Unit 14, this is dispatch. We lost your signal for about 12 minutes there. Everything okay? I key the mic. I'm 10-4 dispatch, just some interference. Disregard the previous call. Appears to be wildlife that cleared the roadway on its own. Copy that, Unit 14. Let us know if you need anything. I sit there for a long time after that, watching the tree line, watching the road behind me, waiting for something to emerge from the darkness. Nothing does. But I know they're still out there, whatever they are. Whatever rules they follow. Because that's the thing Stenson never told me, the thing I've only figured out after 11 years of working this sector. We have our rules. We follow them religiously, and most of the time following the rules keeps us safe. But they have rules too, and I'm starting to think that tonight somehow I violated one of theirs. It's 2:47 a.m. now. I've been parked at this turnout for almost an hour. I should continue my patrol. I should drive back past mile marker 21 and confirm that the road is clear. That's what the job requires, that's what the department expects, but I'm not going back there. Not tonight, maybe not ever. Instead, I put the car in gear and start driving west, toward the substation, toward Packwood, toward anywhere that isn't here. The trees slide past my windows like dark sentinels, and I try not to look too closely at the spaces between them, try not to notice the way certain shadows seem denser than others, the way certain patches of darkness seem to move when they shouldn't. I'm about 3 miles from the turnout when my headlights catch something on the shoulder of the road. A figure, standing with its back to me. A woman, long dark hair, hanging wet against a white nightgown that seems to glow in my headlights. She's standing perfectly still, barefoot on the gravel, facing the tree line as if waiting for something. Mile marker 14. I check the clock. 2:52 a.m. Rule 1. Never stop for a woman alone on the road past. Midnight. I grip the steering wheel tighter and press the accelerator. The patrol car speeds up, passing the figure at 50 miles per hour, and I keep my eyes locked on the road ahead, refusing to look at her, refusing to acknowledge her presence. But as I pass, I catch something in my peripheral vision. She's turning, rotating, not walking, not moving her feet, just rotating in place like a figure on a music box, turning to watch me pass. And even though I don't look directly at her, even though I keep my eyes fixed straight ahead, I can see her face anyway. It's like my mind fills in the details without my permission, constructing an image from the fragments at the edge of my vision. Her face is wrong. Her features are arranged correctly, eyes, nose, mouth, but the proportions are off, stretched somehow as if someone who had never seen a human face tried to build one from a description. Her mouth is open, too wide, far too wide, and she's smiling. The car shudders. My dash lights flicker. The radio emits a burst of static so loud it makes me flinch, and for just a moment, a fraction of a second, my headlights die completely. When they come back on, the road ahead is empty. She's gone. But in my rearview mirror, illuminated by my tail lights, I can see her standing in the middle of the road behind me, watching, still smiling. I don't stop. I don't slow down. I drive until I can't see her anymore, until the road curves and the trees swallow the view, and then I drive some more. The substation appears ahead like salvation, its parking lot lights burning bright against the darkness, and I pull in so fast my tires squeal against the pavement. I sit in my car for 5 minutes before I can make myself move. When I finally get out, my legs feel weak. I walk to the door of the substation, badge in hand, and I'm about to swipe in when I notice something on the ground near the entrance. Footprints. Wet footprints on the concrete. Small and barefoot, leading from the tree, line at the edge of the parking lot directly to the door. They stop right where I'm standing. I look up at the door. There's a handprint on the glass. Wet. Smeared. Like someone pressed their palm against the window and dragged it down. The lights inside the substation are on. I can see the front desk through the window. The duty officer should be sitting there, but the chair is empty. The phone is off the hook. There's something on the floor behind the desk, something dark and wet, but I can't quite make out what it is from this angle. I reach for my radio. Unit 14 to dispatch. I need immediate backup at the Packwood substation. Possible 1033 in progress. Officer may be down. Static. Then my own voice answers. Unit 14, we've got a 1054 at your location. Possible livestock on the roadway, mile marker 21. I turn the radio off. I stand there in the parking lot, looking at the footprints, looking at the handprint, looking at the empty chair and the dark shape on the floor, and I make a decision. I'm not going inside. I get back in my patrol car, I start the engine, and I drive. I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a plan. I just know that I can't stay here, can't go back to mile marker 21, can't do anything except keep moving and hope that whatever rules govern these things, whatever cosmic protocol they're following, movement will keep me safe. The body cam is still recording. It's been recording this entire time. I don't know why I haven't turned it off. Maybe because I want there to be a record. Maybe because I want someone someday to know what happened out here tonight. Or maybe because I know deep down that it doesn't matter. The footage will disappear. It always disappears. They'll find my car tomorrow or next week or next month, parked on the shoulder somewhere or wrapped around a tree at the bottom of a ravine. They'll recover the body cam and the dash cam. They'll send the footage to the county IT department for analysis, and somehow, mysteriously, the files will be corrupted, unrecoverable. Technical malfunction, the report will say. Equipment failure due to environmental conditions. And Deputy Marcus Hale will join the list of night shift officers in the eastern sector who experienced unexplained incidents and were never quite the same afterward, assuming they find me at all. I'm driving west on Highway 12 now, heading toward Randall, toward Morton, toward anywhere with streetlights and houses and people. The forest is thinning on either side of the road, giving way to open clearings and the occasional rural property. I can see porch lights in the distance, signs of civilization. Safety. But then I check my GPS, and my blood goes cold. According to the navigation system, I'm not on Highway 12. According to the navigation system, I'm on Forest Road 28, the same road where they found Deputy Womack's car in 2004, the same road he drove off in the middle of the night, repeating those words over and over. It saw me seeing it. It saw me seeing it. I look out my windshield. The road ahead is narrow, winding, nothing like Highway 12. The forest has closed back in, Douglas firs pressing close on both sides, their branches reaching over the road like grasping fingers. I don't know when this happened. I don't know how I ended up here. I was driving west. I was heading toward civilization. And now I'm deep in the forest, on a road I never turned onto, in a place I've been avoiding for 11 years. The car's headlights flicker. The radio crackles with static. And in the distance, at the edge of my headlight range, I see them. Shapes standing in the road. Dozens of them, waiting. I stop the car. I have no choice. They're blocking the entire road, standing in those same rows, those same formations. Heads already turned toward me, watching, waiting. The one in front is there. The tall one. The one that stands on two legs. The one that isn't a deer. My body cam is still recording. My hands are trembling. I'm trying to think, trying to remember the rules, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do, but nothing in the rules covers this. Nothing in the rules explains what happens when they come for you, when they surround you, when there's nowhere left to run. The child's voice starts again, somewhere in the trees, closer this time. Deputy Hale, it says, in that wrong cadence, that broken rhythm. You looked at us. You saw us. Now we see you. I close my eyes. I grip the steering wheel, and I do the only thing I can think of. I start talking. I start recording this testimony, this confession, this final report of everything I know about the rules we follow and why we follow them. Because someone needs to know. Someone needs to understand. The rules exist for a reason. They weren't made up by paranoid deputies or passed down as hazing rituals for new recruits. They came from experience. from loss, from all the deputies who didn't follow them and paid the price. Rule 1. Never stop for a woman alone on the road past midnight, because she's not a woman. She's something that wears a woman's shape, something that stands by the roadside in the dark hours and waits for someone to stop, someone to acknowledge her, someone to make contact. Deputy Rebecca Torres stopped in 2001. Her car was found the next morning, engine still running, driver's door open. They never found her body. But for 3 months after that, hikers reported seeing a figure on the trails near mile marker 19. A figure in a deputy's uniform, standing with its back to them, never turning around. Rule 2. Never approach a deer that doesn't run, because the things that take their shape aren't quite right. They can copy the form, but not the behavior, the instinct, the life that makes an animal an animal. A real deer flees from humans. A real deer doesn't stand on 2 legs. A real deer's eyes reflect light. Deputy Stenson told me about his partner before me, a man named Hernandez, who got out of his car to move what he thought was a frozen deer off the road. The deer turned its head while Hernandez was touching it, turned it all the way around like an owl, looked him right in the face. Hernandez ran, made it back to his car, drove to the substation, handed in his badge that same night, refused to explain why. He works at a hardware store in Olympia now, won't talk to anyone from the department, won't even say the word deer. Rule 3. Never respond to calls from Yellow Jacket Creek between 2 and 4 a.m. Because the calls don't come from there. They come from something that lives there, something that learned how to use our radios, our frequencies, our voices. It calls for help, because that's what brings us to it. Deputy Charles went to Yellow Jacket Creek in 2006, responding to a 10:54 possible injured person near the water. His last transmission was calm, professional. Dispatch, I have a visual on the caller. Approaching now. That was it. They found his patrol car the next morning. They found his body cam floating in the creek, footage corrupted, nothing but static and a sound that the audio technician described as something like breathing but wrong. They never found Deputy Charles. Rule 4. Never investigate the sound of a child crying in these woods, because whatever makes that sound, it isn't a child, and it isn't crying, it's calling, it's hunting. It uses the one sound that every human being is programmed to respond to, the one sound that bypasses all rational thought and triggers. Pure protective instinct. I don't know what happens if you go to it, no one does, because no one who's gone to investigate has ever come back to tell us. Rule 5. The most important rule. If something is following you in the trees, matching your pace, don't acknowledge it. Don't look at it. Don't run. Because running triggers pursuit. Because acknowledgement invites engagement. Because these things, whatever they are, they operate on a logic we don't understand, a set of rules that govern their behavior just like our rules govern ours. And the one rule they all seem to follow, the one constant across every encounter, every incident, every disappearance, is this. They can't do anything to you unless you see them, really see them, look at their faces, acknowledge their existence, confirm that you know they're there and they know you know. That's when they become real. That's when they become dangerous. That's when they stop being shadows at the edge of your vision and start being something you can't escape from. I've been following these rules for 11 years. I've never looked, I've never stopped, I've never acknowledged them. Until tonight. I didn't look at the shapes in the road, not directly. I didn't look at the child at my window. I didn't look at the woman on the shoulder, but I looked in my rearview mirror. I saw them following me. I saw them watching me. And they saw me seeing them. The shapes are closer now. They've moved while I've been talking, while I've been recording this confession. They're surrounding the car. I can see them in every direction, standing in the trees, standing on the road, standing in places where nothing should be able to stand. The one in front is only 10 feet away. I can see it clearly now. It's not a deer. It was never a deer. It's something tall and thin and wrong, something that wears shapes like costumes, something that's been hunting in these woods since before there were roads, before there were deputies, before there were rules. Its face is turned toward me, waiting for me to look. And here's the thing I haven't told anyone, the thing I've never admitted, not even to myself. I want to look. Part of me has always wanted to look. Part of me has spent 11 years wondering what they really are, what they really look like. What happens when you finally see them for what they are? Is it death? Is it something worse than death? Is it something so terrible that the human mind can't process it, or is it something so beautiful, so transcendent, that the deputies who looked didn't die at all, they just left, went somewhere else, somewhere beyond the forest and the roads and the rules? I don't know. I'll never know, because I'm not going to look. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to keep talking, keep recording, keep my body cam running for as long as possible. And I'm going to hope that somehow, some way, this footage survives, that someone finds it, that someone watches it, that someone learns from it and understands that the rules exist for a reason, and the reason is this: there are things in this world that we are not supposed to see, not because seeing them is forbidden, but because seeing them makes them real. And once they're real, they never stop being real, they never stop watching, they never stop following, they never. The audio cuts to static here for approximately 47 seconds. When it resumes, Deputy Hale's voice is different, slower, calmer, as if the panic has drained away, replaced by something else, something like acceptance. They're beautiful, he says. I didn't understand before, but I see them now. I really see them, and they're so beautiful. The body cam footage ends at 4:17 a.m. on November 15, 2019. Deputy Marcus Hale's patrol vehicle was discovered 3 days later, parked at mile marker 21 on Forest Road 28, engine off, all doors locked from the inside. The vehicle was empty. No sign of forced entry. No sign of struggle. The body cam and dash cam were recovered and submitted to Lewis County IT for analysis. Both devices suffered complete data corruption. All files were deemed unrecoverable. The official report classified Deputy Hale as a voluntary missing person, citing the lack of evidence of foul play. His personnel file was sealed. His badge number, 4471, was retired. In the 6 years since his disappearance, 17 night shift deputies have transferred out of Lewis County's Eastern Patrol Sector. None have provided official explanations for their departures. Current deputies in the sector continue to report routine wildlife encounters on Forest Road 28 between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. These reports are filed, acknowledged, and archived without follow-up investigation. The rules remain unwritten, the rules remain unspoken, and every new deputy who transfers to the night shift in the Eastern Sector eventually learns them, passed down in person, always off the record, always with the understanding that some things are not meant to be questioned, some things are not meant to be seen, and some things once seen can never be unseen. The last known photograph of Deputy Marcus Hale shows him at a department cookout in July 2019, 4 months before his disappearance. He's smiling at the camera, standing with his arm around Deputy Stenson, who retired the following year. Behind them, barely visible at the edge of the frame, the tree line of Gifford Pinchot National Forest stretches into shadow. If you look closely at the original high-resolution image, archived in the Lewis County Sheriff's Department records room, you can see something standing between the trees, something tall, something thin, something watching. The photograph has never been released to the public. Some things are not meant to be seen. The timestamp reads March 8, 2025, 11:23 p.m., and I'm sitting in my patrol car at the Packwood substation parking lot, running through the same mental checklist I've done every night for the past 14 months. Bodycam charged and recording. Dashcam operational. Radio calibrated to the backup frequency. Sidearm loaded, but, let's be honest, completely useless for what actually lives out here. My name is Deputy Angela Reyes, badge number 4892, and tonight marks my 419th night shift in Lewis County's Eastern Patrol Sector. I transferred here from Tacoma PD in January of last year, chasing a promotion and a quieter life. Away from the city, got the promotion, never got the quiet. Dispatch, this is Unit 22. I'm 10-8 and beginning patrol of Sector 7, running the standard route tonight, 131 corridor south toward Randall, then east on Forest Road 28. Copy that, Unit 22. Dispatch responds, and I recognize the voice immediately. Marlene has been working overnight dispatch for almost 20 years. She's outlasted dozens of deputies in the Eastern Sector. I asked her once how she deals with it, how she handles hearing what she hears on those radios night after night. She just looked at me with those tired eyes and said, I deal with it by never asking questions I don't want answered. Stay safe out there, Reyes. Radios showing some interference past mile marker 18 tonight. Atmospheric conditions. I tell her I copy, and I pull out onto the highway. The trees close in almost immediately. Douglas firs and western red cedars forming a wall of darkness on either side of the road. My headlights cut through. The mist that always seems to settle in these valleys after sunset, and I settle into the familiar rhythm of patrol. Check the mirrors, scan the tree line, watch for movement, follow the rules. The rules. I learned them my third week on the job, sitting in this exact parking lot with Deputy Stenson, a man who looked like he hadn't slept properly in decades. He told me everything. The woman on the road, the deer that don't run, Yellow Jacket Creek, the children crying in the woods, the thing in the trees that matches your pace. And he told me about Deputy Marcus Hale, badge number 4471, the last deputy to break the rules and live long enough to record what happened. Except Hale didn't live, I remember saying. They found his car empty. He's been missing for over 5 years. Stenson just stared at me with those hollow eyes and said, "I didn't say he lived, Reyes. I said he lived long enough to record what happened. There's a difference, big difference." He retired 2 weeks later, moved to Arizona, refuses to answer calls from anyone with a Washington area code. I've been following the rules ever since. Every single one, without exception. I've seen the woman 4 times, always near mile marker 19, always with her back to me, always with that wet hair hanging against that white nightgown. I've never stopped. I've seen deer standing in formations that make no biological sense, heads tilted at angles that would snap a normal animal's spine, and I've never gotten out of my car. I've ignored 6 calls from Yellow Jacket Creek, including one last October, where the caller identified themselves as Deputy Marcus Hale requesting immediate backup. That one kept me awake for 3 days. But tonight is different. Tonight I'm not just running a standard patrol. Tonight I'm looking for something specific. 3 weeks ago, a hiker named Thomas Chen went missing near mile marker 21. Day hikers found his car at the trailhead, his pack at the campsite, his phone dead on the ground about half a mile into the woods. Standard search and rescue protocols were initiated. Grid searches, helicopter sweeps, K9 units, nothing. But then the reports started coming in. Other hikers in the area, people camping near Yellow Jacket Creek, a family driving through at dusk on their way to Portland. They all reported seeing the same thing. A man standing in the trees, tall, thin, wearing what looked like hiking clothes, standing perfectly still, watching them pass, never responding to calls or waves or attempts at communication. The descriptions were consistent, too consistent. Height approximately 6 feet, dark hair, red jacket, standing with his arms at his sides, facing the road but never moving, never blinking, never showing any sign of life except for the slow rotation of his head as it tracked passing vehicles. Thomas Chen was 6 feet tall. He had dark hair. He was wearing a red jacket when he disappeared. The search was called off 5 days ago. Officially, Chen is classified as a missing person, presumed dead from exposure or animal attack. Unofficially, everyone in the department knows what happened. Everyone knows what he became. But here's the thing that's been keeping me awake at night, the thing that made me volunteer for tonight's patrol, even though it's supposed to be my day off. 3 nights ago, one of the witnesses, a retired teacher from Olympia who was camping near the creek with her husband, she came into the substation to file an amended report. She said she'd been looking at the photos from her trip, going through her camera roll, and she'd found something she'd missed before, something in the background of a sunset shot she'd taken near mile marker 21. I saw the photo. I'm the only deputy who's seen it. Captain Morrison took one look and classified the entire file, locked it in his office safe, told me to forget I ever saw it. But I can't forget. The photo showed the tree line at dusk, golden light filtering through the branches, typical Pacific Northwest beauty shot. But in the shadows between 2 massive cedars, barely visible unless you knew where to look, there were 2 figures. Not 1, 2. The first was the shape everyone had been reporting. Tall, thin, red jacket, standing motionless with its head turned toward the camera. Thomas Chen, or whatever Thomas Chen had become. But the second figure was standing behind him, partially obscured by branches, almost invisible in the shadows. It was wearing a Lewis County Sheriff's deputy uniform. The photo was too dark and too distant to make out the face, but I could see the badge, I could see the number, 4471. Deputy Marcus Hale, missing since November 2019, standing in the forest near mile marker 21, 6 years after his disappearance. Still wearing his uniform, still out there. I'm approaching mile marker 18 now, and right on schedule my radio starts to crackle with interference. The trees are thicker here, older, pressing close to the road like they're trying to reclaim the asphalt. I slow down, scanning the shoulders, watching for any sign of movement. Unit 22, this is dispatch. Marlene's voice comes through, broken by static. We're getting some interference. Your signal. Check in when you pass. Marker 23, copy, dispatch. Signal's degrading, but I'm still mobile. We'll check in at 23. I release the mic and focus on the road ahead. Mile marker 19 approaches. I grip the steering wheel tighter, watching for her, the woman, the thing that wears a woman's shape. But the shoulder is empty tonight. No figure, no white nightgown, no wet hair gleaming in my headlights. I allow myself a small breath of relief as I pass, but I don't relax. I never relax out here. Mile marker 20. The mist is thicker now, swirling in my headlight beams like something alive. I reduce my speed, watching the edges of the light, looking for shapes that shouldn't be there. And then I see it. Something in the road ahead. I slow to a crawl, squinting through the mist. At first I think it's a fallen branch, maybe debris from one of the logging trucks that use this road during the day. But as I get closer, the shape resolves into something else. A backpack, red and black, high-quality hiking gear, sitting in the middle of my lane like someone carefully placed it there. I stop the car about 30 feet back. My heart is pounding, but I keep my breathing steady. I key my radio. Dispatch, Unit 22. I've got what appears to be an abandoned backpack in the roadway at mile marker 20. Possible connection to the Chen missing person case. Requesting guidance. Static. Then Marlene's voice, faint and broken. Unit 22. Do not exit vehicle. Repeat, not exit. More static. The radio dies completely. I try again. Dispatch, do you copy? Nothing. I'm alone. The backpack sits in my headlights, red fabric bright against the dark asphalt. I can see a water bottle in the side pocket, a carabiner clipped to one of the straps. Normal hiking gear. Completely normal. But it shouldn't be here. This road was searched. Every inch of this road was searched during the Chen investigation. No backpack was found. No evidence was found. And now, 3 weeks later, in the middle of the night, there it is, sitting in my lane, waiting. I know what this is. I've been doing this job long enough to recognize bait when I see it. Something wants me to get out of my car. Something wants me to approach that backpack, to investigate, to break the rules that have kept me alive for 14 months. I put my car in reverse. I'm going to back up, turn around, report the location, and let day shift handle it in the morning. That's the protocol. That's the safe play. But as I start to reverse, my headlights sweep across the tree line to my left and I see them. Shapes. Standing between the trees. Motionless. Watching. I count 6 of them before I force myself to stop counting. They're arranged in a rough semicircle, positioned at different distances from the road. Some closer to the shoulder, some deeper in the shadows. They're all facing my car, they're all standing on 2 legs, and they're all wearing clothes. I can see flannel shirts, hiking boots, what might be a deputy's uniform on the figure furthest to the left. These aren't the deer things that Hale described in his testimony. These are something else. These are people. Or they used to be people. I keep reversing, slowly, keeping my eyes on the road behind me through the rearview mirror, refusing to look directly at the shapes in the trees. Rule 5. Don't acknowledge them. Don't look at their faces. Don't let them know you see them. My backup lights illuminate the road behind me, and for a moment, everything seems clear. No shapes, no figures, just empty asphalt and dark trees and the mist swirling in my wake. I've gone maybe 50 yards when my car shudders. The engine coughs, the lights flicker, and then everything dies. The engine, the headlights, the dash lights, the body cam indicator. Light. Everything goes dark at once, and I'm sitting in the middle of Forest Road 28 in complete blackness, with 6 things standing in the trees not 100 yards away. I try the ignition. Nothing. Not even a click. I try my radio. Dead. I try my phone. Black screen. Won't turn on. Every piece of technology I have has failed simultaneously, and I'm alone in the dark with them. I can hear them now. Faint sounds in the trees. Not footsteps exactly. More like rustling. Movement. The sound of bodies passing through underbrush, slow and deliberate, getting closer. I reach for my flashlight, then stop myself. If I turn on the light, I'll see them. If I see them, they'll see me seeing them. And then Deputy Hale's voice echoes in my memory, recovered from his corrupted body cam footage. The words everyone in the department knows but no one discusses. They can't do anything to you unless you see them. Really see them. I sit in the darkness. I close my eyes even though it makes no difference. I wait. The rustling gets closer. I can hear breathing now. Multiple sources, multiple sets of lungs. They're surrounding my car. I can feel them pressing closer, feel their presence through the metal and glass that separates us, and I want to scream, want to throw open the door and run, but I know that's what they want. That's what they're trying to provoke. Movement, acknowledgement, eye contact. Then something touches my window. A hand, pressing against the glass. I can hear the soft squeak of skin against the surface, can feel the gentle pressure as it slides down, tracing a path from top to bottom, and then a voice. Close, right outside my door. Deputy Reyes. My blood goes cold. It knows my name. They know my name. Angela. The voice is wrong. Flat. Emotionless. Like someone reading words from a script without understanding what they mean. Angela, we need your help. There's been an accident. Please exit your vehicle. I don't respond. I don't move. I keep my eyes closed. And I try to control my breathing. Try to stay calm. Try to remember that the rules work both ways. They have rules too. They can't act unless I acknowledge them. Please, the voice says. And now it sounds different. More human. More desperate. Please. I've been out here so long. I just want to go home. I want to see my family again. Please, Deputy Reyes. Just look at me. Just let me know you can hear me. Another voice joins the first. A woman's voice coming from somewhere near my passenger window. Angela, it says. And this voice is worse because it sounds familiar. It sounds like Marlene from dispatch. Angela, honey, we've been trying to reach you for hours. There's been an emergency at the substation. We need you to come in right away. Can you hear me? Please respond. I want to respond. Every instinct I have screams at me to answer, to acknowledge, to confirm that I'm okay. But I know these voices aren't real. I know Marlene is sitting at her console in Packwood, probably trying.